Hey, you in my news feed to this day telling me to put on my tinfoil hat. All right, well, here it is, buddy. Now the question is, when are you going to accept the truth? All right, Comey, what we're finding out, Comey, James Comey, he ain't no one's homie. Let's get to this video. I got Barr, I've got Trump, of course, the guy's a madman, and then I got Comey. Let's check it out. I'm feeling a little dirty. I just took a shower, but I'm still feeling dirty. I've been having to watch James Comey, Jim, James, whatever his name is. All right, so first we're going to start with a interview with James Comey and this lady named Nicole Wallace. This is an hour long, and I watched quite a bit of it, and it all makes me want to eek. I mean, I would definitely suggest you listen to when someone tries to tell you that government doesn't do that, well, sit them down and have them watch this, now knowing what we know. Here we go.
Just react to that, but just tell me about being Jim Comey, where people snicker when you say they thought I was in the tank for Hillary, and then Donald Trump attacks you after you testify truthfully and under, no one lies to Congress except, well, I guess except Michael Cohen, but
no, he does too. You're talking to him.
But what is it like to see this, and still sort of be the guy that has a bum rap on the Hillary email scandal?
My reaction to it is actually disturbing to me, which is kind of, there he goes again. I thought I was lying, James Comey, now leaking James Comey.
You're both.
But I kind of shrug and sometimes smile and laugh about it. And then I have a secondary reaction, which is to be horrified at my own numb reaction, right? We have to remind ourselves, the President of the United States of America is publicly announcing that people are committing crimes, they should be in jail, private citizens. That's
while they were committing crimes, while they should be in jail.
It's not okay. And if we become numb to it, we risk surrendering the norm.
Now at this time, in the timeline, because guys, we got to be real specific about the timeline. There was up until the day he won, day Donald Trump won, where these people thought that they had nothing, they had no worries in the world. They were just being sloppy as could be because they knew that it was just standard operating procedures. She'd move into the White House. All of these people that are sitting here trying to suck up to her were going to get cabinet member, cabinet nominations and all this kind of stuff. They were already thinking this stuff. So after the November 8th election, that's where they went into panic mode. And this is panic mode. I mean, this is during the panic mode. This is him hoping, praying that everything that they had done set up between November 9th and what he's talking about right now with the sending in FBI agents into the White House to interview Flynn. This was all on the fly. We've got to do something to cover our asses. All right, here we go.
And I've said this to a lot of Republicans. I've said, let me ask you all a question. If the next president of the United States is a Democrat and wakes up in the morning, God forbid, but wakes up in the morning and starts tweeting that there ought to be criminal investigations of the current Republican leadership of Congress and naming names of people who should be in jail, what's your reaction going to be? And I said, don't answer that. Your head's going to explode. So why is it not exploding now? This is about what our country stands for.
Well, let's not, part of normalizing all of the conduct is rushing through it. So let's not rush through what you just said. He accused you of a serious crime, lying to Congress, and there are no consequences. Does that mean the Justice Department is fully functional? Or, what does that mean? That no one can pick up the phone and say that, Mr. President, you just accused the former FBI director of a felony?
Well, the people who can hold him accountable for that is us. But that's not the Department of Justice's job. That's our job, not to become numb to it and to stand up and participate in holding him accountable to those norms. I think of the American voting population as a giant bell curve. At the wings are where the wing nuts are, and in the middle is mostly people who are unengaged. That giant is awakening because of things like this, and we have to continue to awaken the giant. So we're going to have an election in now less than 2 years. We must hold him accountable. And it's not a Republican thing or it's a Democratic thing. It's an American thing, because this is unacceptable behavior for the leader of our country. It's not anybody else's job but ours.
I want to ask you about the substance of his...
So he knew, he went on here knowing that he had a script. he has to talk to these other people. That's why he's got weird texts. I mean, there's some communication that we don't even understand because they're desperate. They did this to themselves. My favorite saying, they thought she'd never lose. All right, let's get to the next one. So secondly, we've got to jump to Trump. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a boss, and he handles it like a boss. It's unbelievable. Check this out.
Less than the U.S. per capita. Why is that?
I don't think that's true.
That is true. And you said this morning that the White House said the U.S. passes South Korea in virus testing.
Who are you with?
Yahoo News, and it's not true per capita.
Do you want to respond to that? If you have the numbers.
So to our Yahoo gentlemen, I just want to make it clear that South Korea's testing was 11 per 100,000, and we're at 17 per 100,000. So
Are you going to apologize, Yahoo? That's why you're Yahoo, and nobody knows who the hell you are. Go ahead, let's
Based
go.
on the numbers I've seen,
Should I go pull up the Yahoo reporter's tweet that says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Trump," but then at the end, he then says some sort of, it's ridiculous. Anyway, let's get to the next video. All right, so this is going to give you a little background of what's taking so long. We've been saying it. We knew that we know that the government takes forever. We hate it. It sucks. We want it to be like the private sector where time matters. But it's not. It never will be. But in this case, it was a little bit dirtier than what we thought. Check this out.
Morning. Joining us now, Joe DeGeneva, legal analyst, former U.S. Attorney to the District of Columbia. Joe, thanks for joining us this morning. Joe, the president made a big announcement. He authorized Attorney General Bill Barr to declassify all materials related to the Russia investigation. So where is it? Where is it? How come we haven't had anything yet?
Full-scale war. Let me tell you exactly what's going on here. This is very important for the listener. When Bill Barr became Attorney General, the president said, see if you can get to the bottom of what happened during the campaign. Bill Barr tried to do that, and you will recall from his interview with Fox, he said he now had more questions than he had when he started.
That's in my IGTV if you haven't seen it.
The current FBI director was stonewalling the current Attorney General, Bill Barr, on disclosure of certain information about FBI conduct. It got very, very heated. And Gina Haspel, the CIA director, was also resisting disclosure of certain information. Barr got fed up, went to the president and said, Mr. President, I can't answer your question, and here's why. And the president said, fine. 24 hours later, the order came out.
Declassified.
This is full-scale war between the Attorney General of the United States and, believe it or not, another FBI director who thinks he's James Comey.
Oh,
Christopher
Comey
Wray
too.
Is a disaster. He's an unmitigated disaster. But I want you to just...
It's not that these people are disasters. They are corrupt individuals. They have a reason to do what they're doing. And they're not a disaster. He's not in there, just baking cakes that don't work. He knows he's being insidious. These people are inside of our government doing this stuff. But yet the masses just seem to think, well, we better add some more government. It's how we do. It's how we fix everything.
But just think about this. Look at two newspaper headlines. May 24th, Washington Post, unease as Barr's power grows. Carryover headline. Current former officials fear distortion of FBI, CIA's work. Next day, New York Times, order to review secrets pits CIA versus Justice Department. Order to review secrets sets up power struggle. You are watching the quintessential Washington power battle. And here's the problem for the agencies, the FBI and the CIA. They have one disadvantage. They can leak to the Post and the Times, but they do not have subpoena power, and Bill Barr does. We are headed toward a gigantic fight. The intelligence community, which includes the FBI, is in full resistance to disclosing what they did during the presidential campaign. But here's the other problem they have, and they're very fearful of. The FISA court has already found that there was political spying going on starting in 2012. Not 15, not 16, 2012. Why was that spying going on in the Obama administration? The FBI and the CIA desperately fear that if these disclosures become publicly known in a wide-ranging way, their powers may be cut back, FISA may be restricted, and some additional people may go to prison. This Christopher Wray is now standing in the way of history. Make no mistake about it. Christopher Wray has become an enemy of the people.
Joe, you're saying some pretty big things, and the one, of course, that you obviously acknowledge is the biggest is this battle between the FBI director Christopher Wray and Bill Barr. Can you give us any more sense of this? You said that this is a fight that took place 24 hours prior to the president granting Bill Barr the authorization to declassify?
It took place over a number of weeks, but the Attorney General was unable to get the information that he needed to answer the questions of the President of the United States. Remember what this is. This is the President of the United States asking his new Attorney General with full power to find out what went on. The FBI director is saying, no, you're not going to be able to find out all that's going on. So that happened over a period of time, and eventually, Bill Barr is a very serious lawyer. He's not the kind of guy who loses his temper. This was not the sort of thing where there would be a blow-up. This would be, that's fine, Chris, if that's what you want. Now, I'm just telling you, this is my impression from everything that I know. I've not discussed this with Bill Barr or Christopher Wray, but let me tell you something. I came to Washington in 1967. I haven't left. I know what I know. And what's going on now is a battle royal, not between Bill Barr and Chris Wray per se, although that is happening. It is a fight between accountable government, between agencies that have resisted for years and succeeded in not being accountable. They've met their match. An Attorney General who not only is smart, but who used to work at the CIA, who is a litigator, and who has subpoena power. If these people resist, if they get to the point where they will not, for example, listen to this. Now, just think about this, if you will, for a minute. The New York Times, in its story, and the Washington Post, in its story, going crazy over this power being devolved to Barr, say that one of the things that the CIA is really worried about is that their key informant, who's very close to Vladimir Putin, may be revealed. Okay, now, just ask yourself this question. If you really thought that this source was so important, would you tell the New York Times
Bingo.
and the Washington Post? Do you think that Putin and his people don't know at this point who that person is, since there are already stories written about it in 2018? This is so stupid. What the agency and the FBI are doing, they are literally at war with the President of the United States and his Attorney General. This is unbelievable. And, I tell people, read your papers carefully, and you've got to follow this. This is as big as it gets in a democracy.
Joe, on whom were they spying in 2012? I want to go back to the FISA warrants. You said the FISA warrants go back to 2012.
No, these are not FISA warrants.
Not FISA
That's
warrants.
the scandal. These are not FISA warrants.
Okay.
What these are illegal access to NSA databases about American citizens. They are called Section 702 queries. 702 is a section of the National Security Act which allows searches under FISA for certain information about Americans. But it must be minimized and it must be kept very, very secret. In fact, those inquiries made by 4 FBI contractors were illegal. Those queries were made about Americans. Those queries were used to unmask Americans. Those queries were then used to use the unmasked information to leak information to the press about Americans.
The media, for sure. The media is going to do whatever it can to not talk about this. They've got so many things they can't talk about. If we're talking about Biden's accuser, if we're going to talk about this, there's just... Oh, man, the media must be working overtime. All right, check you out later. See ya.
What shows everyone else?